In the Pits is partnered with YI Paintball. Paintball, there's nothing like it. On the field or off, it's not just a sport, it's a community. The people, our people, come from all over, with vastly different lives during the week. But come time for paintball, we're one community, with a lot of stories about why. Follow YI Paintball on Instagram and meet the members of the paintball community. Learn about how they started, what their journey has been, and their ultimate why. Why paintball? What's your why? In the Pits is partnered with Podrunners Union. Follow Podrunners Union on Instagram to find strength in union and celebrate our sports pit crew. Send in photos to represent your union local and be featured. Stealing pods for undeserving teams. It's a living. In the Pits is partnered with Mariachi Águilas de Oro. Based in Austin and servicing the surrounding areas, these Golden Eagles will bring life to any event you are having, from birthdays, anniversaries, holidays, corporate events, or even a simple performance to enjoy. Guillermo Padilla, one of their trumpet players, is also a member of the Texas paintball scene. Visit them on Facebook and Instagram to check out some of their past performances, or give them a call to book them for your event today. In the Pits is partnered with Skull Monkeys Paintball. Equip, engage, excel. In the Pits is partnered with XTPL Events. The Extreme Tournament Paintball League is a series put on by the Lukow family of Paintball Fit fame that gives the opportunity for players to learn and grow together as a team. 3-man, Challengers and Champions X-Ball, Draft Mech X-Ball, and even Youth 3v3. There's something for everyone at XTPL. Not to mention prize tosses, raffles, and the infamous paintball munching contest. Events happen throughout the year, and the prizes never disappoint. Sign up for an XTPL event today on PB Leagues. In the Pits is partnered with Hydra. Designed by players, for players, you can outfit yourself in Hydra gear from head to toe. Have confidence that when you make a purchase from Hydra, you are purchasing a well-tested and well-thought-out product, trusted by several top teams, including first-place semi-pro team, PaintballFit.com. I personally recommend their Hydra Black knee pads. Purchases over $100 receive free shipping. Head to hydra.fit to browse their selection and discover the Hydra mentality. In the Pits is partnered with BEM Wraps. Behind every mask is a unique and creative player. Tap into it when you order your next custom headpiece. Their Build-A-Band lets you communicate with them one-on-one to make your order just the way you want, all the way down to the color of the stitch. Check out their Instagram at BEMWraps for drops and build videos of them working on orders. They offer very competitive pricing, so reach out today to get started on your own one-of-a-kind headpiece. In the Pits is sponsored by FU Athletics, created with a purpose and focused on building a better you. We are a brand that matters in your workout, and every purchase gives back to cancer research. Go to thefuathletics.com and use code INTHEPITS25 for 25% off of your order. In the Pits is partnered with Compete. Compete is a Texas-based brand by Jell Stewart of professional team AC Diesel that provides custom jerseys, pants, headbands, straps, tech shirts, and any other soft goods to help individuals and teams compete at the highest level. Support Texas Paintball and message Compete on Facebook or Instagram and mention In the Pits Podcast for 10% off your entire order. In the Pits is partnered with Get Dat Shot. Get Dat Shot now offers first-in-line photo and video editing, 20% off Get Dat Shot merch, and 20% off prints to all teams that wear the Get Dat Shot logo on their jersey. Message GetDat_shot on Facebook or Instagram to become a Get Dat Shot program team. In the Pits is partnered with Paintball Kumite. Paintball Kumite is a program designed by Colt Roberts of professional team San Antonio X Factor to take paintball players of all ages, experience levels, and skill groups and mold them into champions. The program breaks the game down into small, easy-to-learn sessions designed to help you master the fundamentals so that you can elevate your game. Newcomers to the program get a free 1-hour introductory class when mentioning In the Pits. To sign up for a class, message at Paintball Kumite on Instagram. Welcome everybody to episode 68 of In the Pits Paintball Podcast. This podcast is focused on everything that has to do with the paintball scene here in Texas, from professional players and teams to new divisional programs, local tournament series, field owners, Texas-based brands, even photographers and videographers. Every week, we will have a short and sweet episode with a new topic and special guest. I'm Christian Smith. I'm a player for the Texas Titans, and this episode we're going in the pits with Ryann Sartor, commentator for the Bunkerfest webcast. Ryan, how are you doing this evening?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on. I know we are officially in October, officially in championship season here in Texas, and we've got 3 back-to-back weekends in a row. First with the Bunkerfest event, and then the following that we've got USXBL, and then following that will be XTPL. And then I think the week after that, we're already into World Cup layout weekend, so it's going to be hard and fast here in October.
Oh yeah, a lot of paintball going on, a lot of grinding at the end of the season. Everybody's want to make a big splash before the new season's coming up.
Absolutely. And with all these cash prizes that are coming up in these local events, it's hard not to be like kind of making that last push for the championship.
Absolutely. Everybody's going to want to go for that series. Everybody's going to want to make a name for themselves. Everybody's going to want to roll that energy into next year. You know, you win big at the end of the year, your name's on top. Everybody's going to remember you. Tryouts, bringing new players, bringing new sponsors. That's what they're going to see, how you ended the following year.
Absolutely, and that's the one that everybody remembers. So let's go ahead and get into this. So this first question is brought to us by XTPL Event. So let's talk about your story first. So for those listening that maybe don't know about you personally, how long have you been involved in the Texas paintball scene?
So I'm in the military, so my Texas paintball experience didn't really start until about 2012. Started in 2012 when I got back from Afghanistan. I tried out for AC when Greg Pauly first started that team. So I actually played with Joe Stewart when AC was just a D2 and a D4 Expo team. Took second with Joe Stewart at a World Cup in 5-man and D3. Played with that organization. Left for a bit, came back, and then I played for a couple other well-known teams such as Austin FSU. I played with TOG. Took fourth at NXL event. And then just kind of been a part of Veteran Militia, playing some local events, and just kind of been around with Bunkerfest ever since then. But I've been playing paintball since 1999 is when I started playing tournament paintball.
Oh, wow. And I know at least trying to do some research on you, I use PB Leagues for most of that. And so PB Leagues really only starts in like 06. So what are some of the teams that you've played for over the years?
So I started playing in 97 at the famous SC Village in SoCal. Back in the day on the West Coast, it was all 7-man. So I played a lot of 7-man stuff. My very first team, shout out to my boys, Legion Mob, way back in the day. And 10-man and stuff like that. Got stationed in Hawaii. I got and played some 7-man at some local West Coast events, regional, and some PLs back in the day with some Hawaii teams. And then when I got back from Iraq, played PSP for the 5 events in 2007 with a team called Tropical Lightning in D3 X-Ball. And following that, Alabama, Texas, so on and so forth, and started playing more X-Ball. Some of the reputable teams I played for played 7-man with Destiny, played with Absolute Chaos out of North Carolina, Energy Elite, their divisional team, AC that I talked about, TOG, FSU, played with a lot of local regional teams.
Played with the Outlaws for a little bit as well, right?
Outlaws. What outlaw team?
The Trade My Gun Outlaws, I believe.
No,
I saw it on your profile. So
no, Harker High Outlaws. I think I played with them in events, and then I helped coach them when I was at Fort Hood. Drawn a brain fart for a little bit. Carolina Breakout, played with them when I was up there. PC Katana, I played with them for a very long time. Divisional team. I played with a lot of these teams that gone pro, but I played on their divisional teams, and of course, being in the military, they've gone up, and I was like, hey, I got to leave. So I've kind of always missed my opportunity to keep following them. But Veteran Militia is kind of the team that I've been sticking with just due to being in the military and hard to commit sometimes with some of those organizations.
Awesome. Well, there's definitely a lot of well-known names and on your belt there. So What was it that kind of got you into paintball to begin with?
To be honest, I was in seventh grade. Went to a new school, made a friend, and I saw a brochure for SC Village, and it was this awesome brochure, like big buff dude with paintball gun, and I was like, that looks cool. And he's like, hey, want to come play? And I'm like, all right. And if anybody's ever been to SoCal at SC Village, some of the best scenario fields, and they have all like downed aircraft and like bunkers and tunnels, and they just have all these props. And right off the bat, I was like, man, this is awesome. Loved it. Just loved scenario balls like that. Actually hated all hyperball and stuff like that. Then I grew up down the street from a paintball store where actually it was funny that Mike Paxton used to go there all the time when Bushwhackers was there. So he used to be there, and Jules Fude and a bunch of those guys. I was just a young high school kid, and I would go there after school all the time. And I was like, hey, I'm interested in tournament paintball, and the rest is history. And then I've been addicted ever since '99.
I love it. Sweet. Yeah, it's cool to hear the stories of like those that got into the game because of like the well-known names at the time, just kind of reaching out and like helping them get their start. And paintball is so awesome, especially nowadays where I feel like there's a lot more of those kinds of people out there that are trying to like help the newer players and help bring people into the game.
Yeah, it was. I just was in that area in a great time. I mean, I remember playing 10-man against the Iron Kids. I remember when all those guys were the same age as me, a little bit younger. Like it was a great time in Southern California to be in that area. Like all the legends were there, but everybody was kids and it was balling out. I remember San Diego Aftermath when they were first built, and they're all tiny kids and playing against them in 7 minutes. Like, it was a good time to be in that area. Then they stayed to play paintball, and I joined the military. So that's life.
Yep. So you've kind of been around a lot, especially within paintball, within Texas, all across the United States. So this question is brought to us by Podrunners Union. What are some things that you've noticed have changed within paintball, either for, and I know in the question I sent you is specific to Texas, but you seeing as how you've kind of been all over the U.S., what are some things that you've noticed have changed over time within the scene as a whole?
Well, you can't change the economy. So the economy affects paintball. And we remember the height of paintball was like 2007. Like it was booming. I mean, when you're talking about when I went to World Cup in 2007, and it was at the Disney Sports Complex, and there's over hundreds of teams in every division, just maxed out, just tons and tons. Like they had 20 something fields. It was huge, the biggest thing I've ever seen. It was just unbelievable how many people were there, and everything was so cheap. I mean, back in the day, like white box, $15 case. I mean, it was crazy. Mystery box, like $10. Like, hey, here they give you a white box. You don't know what the thin is. Sometimes you get lucky, you get chronic. Sometimes it'd be crappy paint. The formats have changed. League owners have changed. At the end of the day, it's like paintball's trying to survive. Sometimes there's good people trying to do good things for it, and bad people trying to do bad things for it. Some people trying to do it to make money. Some people are trying to do it for the players. At the end of the day, some people just say it's a hobby. Some people like it's a sport. You got to love it. I mean, it's one of those. I think people do it because they like being around their friends and they like building memories. But I think people do it because they are competitive and they want to see the sport build. They don't want to hang out with their friends and win, and they want to see it become a legitimate sport that can one day be on TV and we could have a legitimate, money pot coming in and stuff like that. And I would love to see it one day. I think that would be something great. I don't have the answer to it by any means. I think there's some people who have good intentions, and I just hope it goes in the right direction. I think some people have made strides in it, but it's a hard thing. I do not envy, with knowing the behind the scenes of Bunkerfest, I do not envy any league owner. any of them, from Tom Cole to the top to the smallest person on the regional level ball. I do not envy any fielder. So hats off to all of those guys for trying to do what they can do for any people.
Right. I know there's a lot of individuals out there, a lot of groups out there that are trying to answer that question of how do we grow paintball, or how do we make it more mainstream than it already is? How do we get it to the kind of the big leagues and make it its own big league? And I don't know the answers to that. And I definitely am not involved behind the scenes in a big way by any means, but I know that there, at least the time that we're in right now, it feels like there's a lot of change going on. I think it's exciting that there are people trying new things out there. Like you've seen just this year alone, you've seen at the World Cup, there's going to be a new format debuting that they're going to play on Wednesday with the pros. You've seen Oliver Lang and the Hormesis 1v1 Joust and Duel Tour. And also the explosion of the youth movement. There's a lot of things that have happened just this year alone, and I'm curious to see how they're going to carry over into next year.
I think anything that sparks an interest to make a new movement is a plus. Getting the youth more into it, awesome. A way to make paintball a little bit cheaper, awesome. To make it more affordable, great. To make it more team-based, awesome. To make more individual-based, awesome. Any little niche that is a way to promote paintball in a different way is always a positive way to do things. And I think the solution, hey, if you have an endless supply of money, that's the solution. If you have no worries about money ever, there you go. You can figure out how to do paintball. that's the easy answer.
All right, any Powerball winners out there, if you're listening, you know what to do.
Right. Hey, if Jeff Bezos wants to invest in paintball, there we go. We can figure it out.
Yeah, we'll take it. All right, so this next question is brought to us by Skull Monkeys Paintball. So in your paintball career, you've played for teams all over the U.S., but your last couple of years have been dominated by appearances on Veteran Militia. So tell us more about your experience with the organization.
So I love being a part of Veteran Militia. I played my first event with them in 2015 or so. It was like a local event. I was part of the group. I just moved in the area, and they're like, hey, we're trying to put a squad together. And I'm like, yeah, I'll come up. And I just jumped in with a bunch of guys I met and played with them. And it was pretty awesome. And then I originally knew Jeff Munoz, which I know you know, and I was a part of the Army All-Stars team, which he made himself. And he brought me on to VM team, and then the VM had their flagship team, which was their D3 team, their D3 5-man team, which is more nationally known as their highest winning team out of all of the VM teams so far, nationally recognized. And he brought me onto that squad to fill in. And VM's a great organization. I mean, to be able to bring guys who don't see each other regularly, and it's D3 5-man, but it's still competitive. I know it's not X-Ball, and we don't win in X-Ball at national events, but D3 5-man is still competitive. Everybody's balls break on everybody. Everybody's still working their butts off out there. But to come together where you guys don't see each other and go out there and take a first or take a second, that's still pretty impressive. And our rosters maybe you might have the same four or five guys on a roster, maybe if you're lucky. Sometimes there's been events where we've only had 3 of the same guys on a roster every event, and the rest of the 5-6 guys have been different. So they have that kind of continuity and that relationship to be able to just jump in on a squad and play and actually beat people. I think it's kind of impressive. And I don't know if a lot of other teams can do that, to be honest.
Yeah, I definitely don't know any other organizations out there in paintball that have quite the system or quite the member size as y'all do, not by a long shot. And one thing that we've seen starting last year is kind of more and more of these members getting featured on center court. And this year is going to be the second annual Commanders Cup, which is going to be taking place at World Cup, usually on November 11th. So this question is brought to us by Bem Raps. So last year at the first Commanders Cup, you played with Army. What was the experience like during those games, and what can we expect for year two?
First off, it was heartbreaking. It was heartbroken, 100%. We were just so close. I just still remember it. Like ran a guy down and shot him, spun on me, started 3-on-5, lost 3-5 block. What to expect? Well, I'll already tell you now. Shit talking has started. Every branch is talking shit to each other, and I love that. It's like fun shit talking. Like everybody's bashing each other. The Marines, they're like, we're still the champions. You know, the Army's like, we're coming in hot. You know, Navy's like, we're still a team, and Air Force is like, we fine guys. You know, and the Space Force Coastie's like, can we play? You know, so the shit sort talks. So we got coaches. They're getting players. We're going to still see the same intensity, the same dedication the guys want to play. So the difference is that you should not see any of the same players from last year. It should be all new players. So what we're trying to do is we're rotating all new players as much as we can, at least every year. So like if you played a year, you have to take a year off, and then coming in the next year, if rosters can't get filled, then you might be able to rotate more players in. So, for instance, the first year, most of the rosters had a couple of pro players on them. This year, I would be surprised if you even see one pro player at all. It might be the high flow, might be a semi-pro, or divisional guys. So the coaches are picked, the teams are being picked, and the group chats are starting and stuff like that. I doubt any of them will practice stuff like that, but the shit talking started. I'm actually trying to commentate that. I'm working with Jeff right now to see if I can commentate that one. So I'm actually pretty excited about that. But it's going to be good. The Giant Commanders Cup has a plaque on the ring, so it's going to be a tradition that every time the next winner wins, we're going to put a stamp on it for who won that year. We're going to try and keep that going as long as we can and keep rotating people in. We have over, I think, 2,500 members or more, and we're just going to keep rotating people in. Like, hey, if you want to be a part of this. And so also with the Commanders Cup, and if people are watching this VM, guys, we're trying to get them involved. So the criteria is like you have to be involved with VM. You either got to like help pit for VM, you got to play a local event with VM, you got to do something VM involved to qualify to play on the Commanders Cup line. You can't just be a ghost, a part of the Facebook group chat, and we come a Commanders Cup of like, hey, I want to play. Like we're trying to get you involved to do something with VM. And we could backtrack, but like, hey, he did pit or he did play an event or something like that. Then we could try and you're eligible to roster because there's so many people who are like, I want to play. And it's like, well, we only have so many slots. But if we see that this guy played 4 events and he says he wants to play, and this guy didn't do anything he wants to play, well, we're going to try and go with the guy who's dedicated more time to the VM kind of thing. So we're not trying to be unfair, but it's like, hey, you put your time in, we're going to try and get you in the boat. We'll rotate through everybody as this goes on. So.
Right. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, you've got so many members and there's only 10 to 15 slots, depending on how many guys you're rostering on each line.
I think we do 10 guys on the line. I think we try at least have like 2 lines, what we try and do to keep it fair, roughly. So yeah, around there.
All right. So I know you mentioned the Coast Guard and the Space Force. Are they going to be fielding lines this year, or are we just going to see the 4 branches again?
We're just going to see the 4 branches because I don't consistently have full lines of those guys yet. But the Coast Guard, I think the Coast Guard could fall in with the Navy, and the Space Force will fall in with the Air Force if they do want to play. I believe that's already been put out.
Got it. All right. So this next question is brought to us by Mariachi Águilas de Oros. So for any veterans or service members that are out there that are looking for a community, how can they get connected with Veteran Militia?
So just go on Facebook, look up VM Paintball Group, and just, join group. You'll have to answer questions. We do try and vet we vet everybody. All right, it's not trying to get in your personal business, stuff like that, but we don't we don't want stuff getting out. Sometimes the paintball community is very kind to us. Sometimes discounts come up that's only for vets, and we try and just when those discounts come out, we just give it to the veterans. So we want to vet you and say, hey, when did you serve? What branch were you in? Do you have proof that you served? And we try and vet you and look, look at pictures. Hey, do you have proof that you served? We just want to make sure that there's no stolen dollar. We want to make sure that there's actual proof that you did your time and you served and stuff like that. So go on BM Paintball Group, submit your stuff, show your serve. And you know what? Anybody who does watch this who doesn't even play paintball, it's a great group just to be a part of, just to hang out with guys. Just if you just want to see dudes play paintball, but if you just want to hang out, drink beers, and talk rap, that's what it is about camaraderie, just kind of hanging out. And that's what we're really all about. So.
And I think I've seen somewhere that Veteran Militia does more than just paintball, correct? They've also got other things like fishing teams.
Yeah, so I actually run BM Fishing Group. So I run Veteran Fishing Group. I did a lot of fishing during the COVID year. So when COVID happened, kind of put paintball on the back burner and I started fishing a lot. So I did a lot of competitive fishing, started a group, and that actually took off pretty good. And a lot of guys started getting together and just fishing because there's nothing really fucking cool. I'm not going to say fishing is cheaper because if you get into it, it becomes just as expensive as paintball. But yeah, guys get in fishing. Hey, grab a pole, grab a beer, go fish. The whole point so paintball is just a conduit to get guys together. So that's the whole point paintball is. That's the only reason we use paintball as is. But it's just to get guys together to talk, to hang out, to reach out. I can't tell you how many times in the paintball group or in the BM paintball chat where funny memes will come up or some guy will come up and be like, yo guys, I'm having a hard time. And guys would reach out to him. Or somebody would say, hey man, my buddy lives here. I've been trying to get a hold of him. I can't get a hold of him. And then you would have blasts of people just texting, where is he? Hey, I live in this area. I could get over there. And we can have guys throughout the 50 states. We can find somebody in that state who's local in that area, knock on someone's door within a matter of 30 minutes to an hour to get to someone's house just to double check whether they know that person. And we've done that in real time. And that's 100%. And I think that's a pretty amazing thing to be able to do. And so sometimes guys hey, I'm getting out of the military. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do. Or I just got out. I'm lost. And so the biggest thing is just to help each other. And that's why I love this group. Paintball is just a way to bring each other together. And, we just like being assholes to shoot each other. So that's pretty fun.
Yeah. Y'all's organization that you've built is nothing short of incredible. And I know that even someone who's not, I'm not a service member. I've never served, but I do come from a military family, and I recognize how important organizations and groups like that, and just people to talk to help with the transition, or even just day to day having someone to talk to that kind of knows the experience. So yeah, any veterans or current service members that are looking for an organization, even if you're not, even if you happen to find this podcast and you have no interest or involvement within the game of paintball, reach out to Veteran Militia. They've got a great organization for just having a community in general. So reach out to them. So Ryan, where can they find Veteran Militia, online, social media? How can they get involved with these groups?
The simplest one we have is just BM Paintball Group on Facebook. That's the easiest one to find us on. Just go on there, get vetted, get in the group, and send us a message. That's the simplest thing to do.
Perfect. All right, so this next question, and looking at the chat real quick, we say we've got hellos from Pat Rayborn and also from Brandon Ortega of BEM Raps. So what's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in. So this next question is brought to us by Paintball Kumite, which is Colt Roberts Training Regimen. So you're also a staff member for the Bunkerfest series, which, as far as I know, is entirely staffed by veterans. So what is your role on this staff, and what are some things that you can share about the behind-the-scenes work that goes into operating an event of this scale?
So I am a grunt. I'm a ground builder. I'm a multi-tool. whatever needs to get done, get done. In one event, I've done parking duties. I've picked up trash. I've laid rock down. I've unloaded paint boxes. I've ref paintball. I've pumped out water. If you guys remember the first event, I was in the corner of field 2 at the time, pumping out the corner that was flooded with water and a squeegee, and me and Rangel were out there squeegeeing the corner and pumping all that water out. I was doing that for a while. I do some commentating here and there. Everything. We make sure we talk to all the vendors, make sure they're taken care of. If they need anything, if they need any bags or anything. During the hot event, the last one, make sure everybody was staying cool, make sure no one needed any water, make sure everybody was hydrated. We're also make sure that everybody is taking care of themselves. Any kind of emergency scenes, we're on top of it. Also, we're pre-set up, so we make sure everything is set up 100%. We make sure that we are go. Like, we're not coming in the first day, like, with anything we have to do. Like, we're coming in, and there's, like, onesies and twosies, but we're coming in, and we're going. We do not leave that field until we're ready to go. There is no, like, oh, we'll take care of it. We don't leave that area until we know that we are 100% ready to go. And we are the first ones there. We're the last ones to leave. And that's one thing that we pride ourselves on 100%. The behind the scenes, man, we are assholes to each other. We call each other out on our shit. And if we're aggravated, we will chew each other's asses out. We will call each other out. The first event, we definitely got aggravated with each other. And we definitely yelling at each other in heated moments. But we get over it, bond. As we start to progress, you know, you kind of learn each other's ticking points, just like with any job, you know. But we all have the same goal in mind. And our one goal is to make sure that we provide the best possible event we can for Rangel and for the players. We're trying to support Rangel's dream by giving the best possible event we can to make Bunkerfest run as smoothly as possible. And we do that 100%. So if anybody's ever seen any of the staff guys, we're running around all the fucking time. We're always trying to say, hey, how are you doing? How's everything going? You guys need anything? Can we help you guys out? We're always trying to do everything. If you guys ever see little Ricky Axtell with a little beard, looks like a gnome. He always has a smile. He always has a smile on his face. Hey, how are you doing? What's going on? Like, I've never seen a guy work so hard with a smile on his face 20%. Blows my mind. So, but I tell you what, we could be dog shit tired and still just love each other and be joking and just be like, man, what a great day. So it's no matter how tired you get, it's 100% worth it. I wouldn't trade anything for it to be able to be a part of this. I'm privileged that Rangel asked me to be a part of this, 100%.
And your efforts as a staff as a whole definitely don't go unnoticed. And I've gotten the great experience of playing all of the Bunkerfest since Chris Rangel has brought it back. And one of the major standout things is just how many staff members are around, and everybody's just constantly putting in hard work, but also being that great kind of face and great interactions with the players and with the spectators and with just the people that are there. So I can tell you that my team, like, there's a very good reason why the Texas Titans were one of the teams that prepaid the full season up front, is because we've had those great experiences, largely in part to this, staff members like yourself, and it was a product that we believed in. So, I can tell you that we all appreciate all of the work that you guys have been putting in, guys and girls have been putting in all season. And we're looking forward to this one, which is, we're going to be there tomorrow to walk the fields, and then Friday paint's going to fly.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I mean, we're not just, so yes, we're all veterans, so we all have a standard. We know what the standard is. We all have been through hell. We know what being in the field and being rained on and just living miserable life. We all know how it feels like just to be yelled at and just say, like, literally, I remember the very first event. I showed up. I literally parked my car. Rangel pulled up in the gator. Doesn't say hi or anything. He says, "Get the fuck in." And I just jump in, and he says, drops me off. He's like, "Go fucking do that." Not even a hi, what's up, nothing. He just says, "Get the fuck in, go over there." I'm like, "Roger." And we go to work. And that's just how it is. Like, sometimes there's not pleasantries. It's like, we got a job, let's get the job done. And that's just how it is. And secondly, we're all players. So when I'm out there trudging through, however many inches of water in the corner of that snake, I'm like, as a player, I'm like, I don't want to slide into that. I know you guys don't want to slide into that. So I'm like, I want to get that shit out of there. So you guys are like, "Man, you guys are awesome." I'm like, "Look, dude, I don't want to slide into it. I know you don't want to slide into it. So if there's a way I can get rid of that, why not? I mean, it's not going to, I'm here working, might as well do it." So it just makes sense to me. Like, why not try and help the players out on those little things? It doesn't take that much effort, so.
Absolutely. And the operation it's a huge operation. You've got over 100 teams at all of these events, and that have, like, last year this series didn't exist. So, making a whole lot of moves very quickly to become a very large production. And I know that, like, this year, like, yeah, the first event was very wet. I mean, it rains in Texas. Anytime you have an event period, it just happens, if you want rain in an area, host a paintball event. That's the fastest way to get it done in Texas. So it's been impressive to watch, like, the way that the staff as a whole has been prepared for when things go wrong, and they have those fallback plans and contingencies already in place to make sure that the show goes on.
But that's not to go, because plenty of times we're like, "Hey, we need this." That credit card will drop. He's like, "Get it." So I do not envy that man. How many times he had to drop his credit card for last minute things of, like, a generator or the water pump or whatever else. Like, "Oh shit, this just went down." He's like, "All right, let's go. We got to get it," because he's like, we need it. We got to get operations going. So he sacrifices more. He sacrifices more than people realize. And he definitely doesn't get the credit sometimes when people talk shit about him. He sacrifices a lot. So hope people realize that in the end sometimes.
Yeah, definitely needs to. I think just the efforts of everybody that goes through to put on paintball tournaments for all of us to enjoy. I think just in general, the paintball public, and by paintball public, I specifically mean players and teams, like, they just don't realize how much goes into it and how big of a logistical nightmare it actually is.
Yeah, it is. That's why in the very beginning I was like, I do not envy any paintball promoter. I do not envy.
100%. So this question is brought to us by Why I Paintball. So the championship event, just a couple of hours away at this point. Tomorrow, teams are going to be walking the layout. So what can we expect from the series finale as far as new things or even improvements to what we've seen all year?
So, very exciting new thing, which they did in the past on the very first Bunkerfest, is that we're going to have North versus South. And the coaches, we're going to have Ryan Gray and Gerald Garcia. Gerald Garcia playing in the original Bunkerfest way back. Do you remember when the first Bunkerfest was?
I want to say it's like 2004.
Yeah, like way back in the day when he used to play. So, two legendary coaches going to be coaching the North versus South game. Really excited to see that. At the same time, it's going to be a split deck, and we're going to have the refs versus the staff. And that is going to be a fun game. There's always some shit talking going on. We got some fun custom jerseys. Rangel made us some custom jerseys, so I'm not going to give it away. Well, I think he posted it already. He did. So we got some Aloha themed jerseys. So they're going to be pretty spicy. I'm going to be playing on the staff squad, so I look forward to doing that. But it's gonna be interesting. As long as the refs aren't helping the ref team, we should do okay. So, but what we are doing, I'm not sure if North versus South is. Don't quote me. But the ref and staff squad, we are limited to only 4 pods per person. So, but I believe we can rotate those pods around. So if like I'm a front guy, I can rotate like 2 of my pods to my back guy. But we only go in the field 4, but we can rotate them between people. So it's going to be a split tech, north versus south, and ref versus staff. And that's going to be on Friday on the live stream. So make sure you guys watch and throw your support to who do you think is going to win on both those games. It should be pretty exciting.
All right. Yeah, definitely looking forward to that one. I know some of the teams got to put in a representative for the North versus South game. Shout out to Patrick Rayborn, who's going to be representing the Texas Titans. Also, shout out to Kenny Wilson, who is representing Veteran Militia. He's also a Texas Titan. So rooting for both of those guys, both playing for the North team. Yeah, it's super cool that they get to have this experience, and also cool that Ryan Gray gets to coach them, and they get to have that experience under a pro coach, legendary name within Texas. And then I think they also announced today that there's going to be an MVP prize. That Die is providing a golden barrel for the North versus South MVP, as well as the finals X-Ball divisions.
Yeah, so Rango pulling tricks out of his hat. So yeah, the die yellow barrel, the gold barrel. So you get to pull out some swag, make yourself an MVP and stand out in front of everybody. So should be good. Also shout out to Max and CMPT.
And compete from
Yeah, for the jerseys and stuff like that. Sponsoring those jerseys. So made by Under, but they sponsored those jerseys to be made. So
for sure, yeah. Shout out to Charles Dean. Shout out to Jell Stewart for those.
And it was pretty cool because you have 3 different jersey companies coming together for the same cause of paintball. And that's pretty awesome. Like, they're like, hey, you want to sponsor these jerseys? My company will make them, sponsor them for that. It's like, it's cool. It's like 3 jersey companies coming for the same cause. And I was like, that's pretty awesome to see. You don't see that a lot. It's pretty cool.
Absolutely. And Jell Stewart, who I had on like very early on in the show, I want to say he's one of the first 10 episodes. One of the things that he said was like, hey, even if you don't necessarily go with his company for your jerseys, like there's a lot of great companies within the state of Texas that operate and put out really good products. So his whole thing was, even if you don't support me, support one of these other Texas companies. And I really respect that viewpoint where like, hey, they're your competitors, but like we're all Texan paintballers here, so we should support one another.
Yeah, I love Joe. Joe's my boy. Joe's a vet. Played on AC together. Known Joe a long time. He's always been a really good dude, a good soul. He's always been about the sport. Always a good person. Love that dude. So, 100%.
All right. So, this next question is brought to us by FU Athletics. Go to thefuathletics.com. Use code INTHEPITS25 for 25% off of your order. So kind of wrapping up your story here, out of everything that you've gone through within your paintball career, do you have a single favorite moment?
That is a single favorite. Favorite moment. My very first place was always memorable. That was with AC. We were playing it was either AXBL Light or it was what was the other one? ACS or one of those. I can't remember. It was in Texas. Can't remember what field it was at. But we took first, and we were like sloppering in the mud, and it was raining. It was terrible weather. But I remember telling the guys like, "Hey, this is my first place win," and they made it a big deal and stuff like that. So that was always one to remember. But I don't know. Anytime with the boys, I'm just hoping to make some more memories. And one of them will top the list, but there's a bunch of them out there, so I can't really pinpoint one exactly.
Yeah, that's totally fair, especially for how long you've been in the game. I mean, 1999 is when you first started playing tournaments, so that's, 24, almost 25 years at this point.
Yeah, some guys who were just born when I was playing.
I love it. All right. So looking ahead now, we're going to kind of do a preview into the Bunkerfest championship and kind of the series standings for each X-Ball division. So looking forward to the finale. Starting with Division 3 X-Ball. Greed has a commanding lead on the pack, while the Texas Titans and Palm Beach Vipers are neck and neck for the second place series prize. In order for either of those teams to upset Greed, Greed would need to finish in 5th place or lower, and the Titans would need to win to steal. While for the Vipers to win the series and steal it, Greed would need a 6th place or lower finish. So I believe they're taking the top 6 to playoffs for Division 3, so that would mean Greed would have to just barely sneak in, not get the bye, and then lose first round for either of those teams to have a chance. So however, there's also a second place prize for the series that all of the teams will be gunning for, which is World Cup entry. It's not quite the 10 grand that the first place series prize gets, but it's still a hefty prize. So who are some standout teams or individual players in Division 3 that you've noticed, and what are your predictions for the event results and then the series?
So yeah, D3 X-Ball has been pretty explosive. I mean, looking at the first places has been kind of everywhere through the board. Obviously, right off the bat, Greed, going to be a competitive team. You know they're going to come in here hot. They're focused. I guarantee you they got, after how the last event ended, they got a big chip on their shoulder, 100%. I don't know if anybody looks at rosters, but they got a big killer coming in for this last event. Picking up Justin Hodge from Bearcats they're going to be their snake one killer that they picked up. They've had a good relationship with Bearcats and Hodges. They're picking them up for this event, so that's going to be a big thing. I don't know if they have Jay Money on their roster for this event, but because I didn't look at it, but I knew they had that snake killer stuff. Gray's definitely going to come with a chip on their shoulder. Also, through the grapevine, I heard Texas Titans have been making some moves and have some mentality changes and coaches wise. So you guys have been middle of the pack. You guys play really consistent paintball from what I watch. I think sometimes you guys do take some commanding leads, but tend to kick yourself in the dick sometimes. I think if you guys can play really solid, consistent paintball, you guys are going to be money. Vipers, you can never count the Vipers off. The Vipers have just always been a good organization. When you have teams that have been solid organizations for long periods of time, they're going to be good teams. Look at their places, 4th and a 4th. 12th place, Texas Shootout. They got 10th place, sorry. I guarantee you, Vipers have not experienced that type of heat down in Florida with no humidity. So coming into this space with decent weather, look for them to be dangerous. So Outlaw Anodizing, they took a first, but then they had two big 11s and 9s, so I'm not too sure, even though they're placing. I would also watch out for New Mexico Ruckus. 2 third places, first event. Big loss in the 4th, or big place in the 14th. Didn't do too well, but consistency with the 2 thirds, I'd watch them to come in with a chip on the shoulder as well, coming in hard. Can't count out Pro Edge Paintball Factory at all. They took a 12th, the 8th, and the 4th. You can see they've been doing better every single event. But that's also another legendary team coming out of a really good field. And they've also had good players and a good organization. I'd also watch out the sister team of Greed, Avarice, who took a 2nd and a 3rd. So they have a 13th in the middle of it, but they have a 2nd and a 3rd. And if they're the sister team of Greed, I mean, you might see a Greed Avarice thing coming in the top. So looking at some of my predictions, kind of like looking in here, some of the point spreads are tight. If I'm going to say, and to mention this, Texas Demolition is not playing. All right. They took 3rd in the Premier Division, the very first event. They took 2nd in D3. They took 1st in the Texas Shootout. All right. If they would have played, they would have got half their points for Premier, which would have put them up in seeding 2nd. If they would have won, they would have took the series automatically, all right, because they would have been way up in the points. And so for them not to play really changes a lot of things for the thing. But looking at how this is, I definitely guarantee, I would say you're going to see Greed up there 100%. I could say I'm going to say if the Titans go 3-0 through the prelims, I'm going to say you're going to see them at least in the top 4. I think you're going to see Avarice, Ruckus, and probably Pro Edge. I think you're probably going to see Vipers. So I'm going to say probably 5 teams that you're going to probably watch out for.
Okay, so those are your 6 teams that you think are going to advance into the Saturday round.
Yeah. To be honest, and this is iffy, First Degree. I think First Degree has a chip on their shoulder. I think they're in 4th, and I don't think they got the showing they want. And those boys up in the Northeast, they don't like the hot weather, and they were dying. You could tell they're like, bro, screw this. We're out of here. They're like, we are not doing this stuff. Like they were sucking dry that IV guy. Like they were coming over their house all the time. So I think with some better weather, I think those boys are going to come out hard. So man, it's going to be hard. I guarantee you, Green, Texas Titan Vipers, Ruckus, Pro Edge, and then Avarice definitely up there. But I wouldn't be surprised if you see First Degree sneak up in there, but 100%.
All right. Well, yeah, this is gonna be a spicy one. I know a lot of teams are gunning for that series, first place and second place. Obviously, the weather at that last one was just absolutely brutal, unbelievably brutal. I know the IV guy Anson he's also a Texas Titan, and he was saying business was very good for him at the last event.
Yes, 100%. He said he was calling everywhere. He's like, I'll pay you double for the IV bags. So. But definitely a good guy. He was definitely trying to help dudes out. So I really appreciate what he was trying to do.
Absolutely. So let's head over to Division 4 X-Ball now. And this one's brought to us by Hydra. So over in D4, the race is much closer. So Houston Zone has a 14-point lead over Austin Notorious, who won the first 2, but then had a 16th place in an early exit at event 3. Over in third place, we've got Balls Out, who's not too far behind. And then we've got TKO from Houston. And then we've got Dallas Pirates to round out the top 5. So none of these teams are safe with double points. And with there being a little bit fewer teams in this event compared to the events that we've seen earlier this year, there's only, I think, like 25 teams in Division 4. So the gaps between placements are going to be larger. And then on top of that, you have the double points. So as far as the series goes, it's going to be a lot tighter race. So what can you tell me about teams or players to watch? And give me your predictions on the final 4.
So I think Austin Torres is going to I believe that Mark Franz is not going to cut any corners. He's going to bring every coach he can. He might tell Ryan Gray to coach him or whoever. He's going to bring everybody. He's going to have the best staff he could probably have. I know Skylar Molina wasn't there in the last event. I don't know if they had their boogeyman. I don't know if he was there. I don't think they had their full roster that they usually had. They just didn't look like the same Austin Torres team that you saw the first 2 events. But also to say that Memorial Classic, they were down 0-3, and then they came back and they're like winning it by a little bit. So I think having those key players back, and I know you guys practiced some the other weekend, right?
Yes, we did.
So probably, I don't want you to give anything away, but I guarantee you they were out with a vengeance, grinding hard, and I know that team was grinding hard. So they're definitely going to be. I guarantee you that 16th place, they're pissed and they're holding a grudge. And I guarantee you they're mad. They're like, they went in there saying, we did not win 2 first places and take a 16th. We're not going out this way. So I guarantee you they're pissed off. So they're coming with the pain. That being said, Houston Zone, that's not a slack organization. They got tons of teams at the event. I mean, they got another team that took first place in T5. They got 5-man teams. They got a huge organization. So they have a second and they got a first. So Houston Zone is not going to back down. The rivals is Notorious and Zone. That's going to be the big rival. 2 Texas powerhouse teams coming for blood. And they are not backing down. They said, no, we deserve this spot. We deserve to be up here. And I guarantee you're going to see Zone and you're going to see Notorious. They're going to both be grinding out. Balls Out. So Balls Out took 11th, took a 7th, and they come back with a second. Balls Out was looking lights out. They were looking stellar. And I think they were looking stellar because I think the last event, the layout played to their strengths. They had a 1-2 snake attack that was unstoppable. They were boom, 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 boom. They had a double power snake attack because both their 1s and their 2s were both fucking snake guys. They could get the corner, they could get the snake 1, and vice versa. So if the snake 1 died, the corner was a snake 1. So they're very powerful. And to say that, they also didn't have one of their starting snake players there. So Hector Andre, I believe, he wasn't there. They picked up Mo Galvin, or not. They picked up Galvin and Ian. They picked him up, who was prior Demolition, or with Texas Demolition. They picked him up. So if they keep him on and they get Hector back, man, so they didn't have a big Dorito push, but they get their starting snake guy back, maybe throw somebody on the Dorito side as an attacker, man, they're going to be a threat. I guarantee you, if the layout suits that team as far as like a fast snake, then they're going to be a threat. So I think if the layout suits Balls Out, they're going to be a threat. So they had 11th and the 7th, okay, 7th respectable, 11th. But if the layout suits them, I think Balls Out's going to be good. TKO, so my buddy Pete Smith plays on the team. Shout out to him. So they have pro coach. They have a pro coach, Mike from Dynasty.
Yeah, Mike Arena.
So if he's there, he's going to be one of their coaches. Obviously, he's going to give them a good game plan to figure everything out. They were playing super tired. They were grinding. And to take third place with how tired they look and how hard they were playing, it shows a lot. So with the weather being better, and if they have the same players and the same grinding mentality and the same coaching, look them to be a threat coming in. And I guarantee you, Pate Smith probably didn't slack on anything as far as getting that team ready at all. So I think they're going to definitely be someone to look at.
Definitely. And just to speak on TKO, TKO was another team that we scrimmaged over the weekend. And yeah, we played. So Saturday we played Notorious and Houston Zone. And then Sunday.
Did you play TKO from Houston or Texas?
We played Pate's team.
Okay.
So Saturday we played Austin Notorious and Houston Zone, and then Sunday we played TKO and the Texas Cyclones. And so all of the teams that we hosted, they were all looking ready. So especially for Division 4, those guys were, they were definitely looking impressive and all looking like teams that are going to go give teams headaches in Division 3 next year.
Right. So being a D3 team and you're playing D4 teams, you're like, man, these guys are looking solid. You're like, okay, I like seeing what I'm seeing. So yeah, TK, those 4 teams definitely deserve to be there. I think for Balls Out, I think it's going to be a layout thing. They definitely have the attackers. They have Hector back. I think they're going to be killer. I'm going to say watch out for the Donut Shop Mafia. They got 2 solid squads. I mean, when you have 2 squads, one's in 7th and one's in 9th, whether their placings are high, when you have 2 squads that are that close, you know they're grinding hard. Those El Paso boys grind hard, and they're scrappy. They want it. They'll talk crap the whole time they're doing it. So I would definitely watch them to come into this last event, straight up, they're coming for it. Contra, kind of middle of the pack. They also picked up Coach Colin Sherry, so he's definitely going to make sure they're ready coming in hot. There's nobody really else I see coming out. Texas Ultra didn't play the last event. They took second. The first one. Detox took 4th in Memorial. Team 13 took 4th. So other than that, there's some kind of teams here and there. But to be honest, nothing super really that's going to jump out at me. So if I want to say predictions, top 4, definitely Austin Notorious Zone. Balls Out TKO. I definitely do not count out Donut Shop, any of the Donut Shop teams whatsoever. Yeah.
For sure. Those 4 teams have been very strong throughout the whole year. I am going to be a little bit of a homer and shout out my D4 team, the Texas Titans. They've rebuilt middle of the season, and the last Bunkerfest event was their first event under the rebuild. Added a couple of players like Leslie Cluis from Dallas Vibe. They also added Kyle Hunter, and let's see, I don't want to forget anybody from my own team, so let me pull up the list here. Added Jerry Pascal to this team, and they're coming off of a third place finish at the last USXBL event as well. So the team's starting to really gel together, and maybe we see them trying, starting to actually reach their potential. I could see that team being, kind of on upset alert for some of the other teams if they match up with any of the top dogs early.
Yeah, so it looks like they took a 28th first event, then it placed second, and then they took an 8th. So if we were building there, that's the way to rebuild. To go from 28th, miss an event, to take an 8th, that's saying something. Definitely probably not in running for the series, but definitely to get up there in the top 4 to be an upset team, 100%. Because look, not in running for the series, it doesn't mean you still don't want to try and win. Like, just because, like, some teams, I hate when teams are like, we're not gonna play the last event because we're not gonna win the series. That's not the fucking point. You play to win. You play to win. It's not just because of the series. You play to win. It doesn't matter about the series. You play to win first. You play to win second. Like to have the excuse like, well, we're out of the series, we're not gonna play. Like, that's a loser mentality. Like, you play every event to try and win the event. Like, you could have played none of the events at all, then come in here and win first place. Like, yeah, you just won first place, and then you just upset all these other teams have been playing every single other event, and you came in and stomped everybody and won it. I think that says more about you and your team than it does you playing every single event and then not winning. Personally, like if like Nas and Notorious took like full first places and you came in and you stomped them and you took first place, I think that would say more personally. So
right, and it's not like the individual event prize isn't like fat. Like, it's still, even in Division 4, it's still $5,000 for first place at the individual event. So like, there's no reason for you not to just use series prize as an excuse, because there's still there's still plenty up for grabs.
Exactly, and so I mean, if you're using that as an excuse, it's a cop out. Unless you're just trying like, hey, we're not going to play because we're saving up for this and that. I can understand. Okay, we're saving our money for cup. We're saving our money for this league or that league. I can understand that. But if you're going to use an excuse, we're not playing because we're not going to win the series anyways, I'm like, that's a cop out. Like, just play to win. That's what you should be doing.
100%. All right, so let's wrap it up with Division 5 X-Ball. So the two top dogs are Houston Zone D5X and Texas Titans D5. They're practically tied. They're within 1 point of each other, and both of these teams have met up in the playoffs every single event. Texas Titans took the first matchup in March, and then Zone took the other two, knocking out the Titans. The last one was in the finals. The one before that, I think, was in the quarterfinals. So Austin Oni is in third place right now, but they're a decent gap behind the top two. So I'm going to assume that it's going to be one of these two teams winning the event, which it's been the case all year. So assuming these two teams meet again and it's going to be a winner takes the whole series, who's your pick?
Oh, man. Both of them are scrimmaging your squads. I mean, they have 2 other squads to scrimmage, and then Houston has 2 other squads to scrimmage. Zone, a 4th, a 3rd, and a 1st. Titans, a 1st, a 5th, and a 2nd. Man, that's a hard one to call. Both of them are looking really. I think. How about this? The team that adapts the most in prelims. Okay, so I guarantee they're both probably going to make out prelims. I will say that. But the team that can adjust their game plan, moving on to the next round to make it stronger, will definitely win. If they can just have the base game plan to move from the prelims and be more competitive, adjusting faster, they're obviously going to win. So whoever's the more mature D5 team to recognize the faults and adjust to them, they're going to be winning. Because at that point in D5, it's being the smarter team to justify. Because the D5 is not the experience. Everybody's guns, everybody's going to be sloppy and shooting, stuff like that. The teams that can get that kill at the breaks, the team that can communicate, make that right bump. So whoever team trained, so Christian, if you trained your team, your younger team guys right, they're going to do well. If the zone guys train their younger guys right, then they're going to do well. So that's a hard one to call. I don't know if I could really call that one. They're both really good. I mean, if you want to look at consistency wise, like zone's looking on fire right now with consistency wise. So, but that last match D5 X Ball was really tight. So it's really hard. It's really hard toss up. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Austin Notorious D5 come in for an upset. I would not be surprised them seeing coming in for upset, and I would not be surprised to see Outlaw anodizing. I see Outlaw. So top four: Zone Titans, Notorious, and Outlaw anodizing, because they missed the first event, and then they took a second and a third. So I would not be surprised to see Outlaw anodizing come in and upset everybody, because they actually looked really freaking good in the finals matches. Like they barely lost. It came down to like a 1-on-1 between in the middle of a match, and then they played a couple matches, but they were looking really freaking good. So I would not be surprised to see them upsetting some people as well.
Yep, it's definitely nobody's safe and nobody's an easy game here in Texas. I think as far as who's going to take it, I mean, I love how you said the maturity thing is going to be the key indicator, because like if this is Division 5, there's definitely going to be games where like if you are the better player, like just individually, there's like, yeah, I guess that is a way to win and put points up on the board. It's just being better individually and running down and shooting everybody and, you know, getting these high point spreads. But when it comes to playing a team who is more to your skill level, or like these two teams are pretty close to evenly matched. And it's going to be the team that in the prelims, they focus on how they're winning versus just how much they are winning by. If they focus on, you know, the fundamentals of team paintball, which is zone control, communication, you know, things like that. So if it's going to be, I think the team that shows that they're winning the right way in prelims is going to be the team that takes it all.
Exactly. I mean, the team that in a blind layout, team that can learn for the prelims and move on at the same time. If you're just trying to win, in prelims and just like survive to move on, but not learn anything, you're going to get destroyed in Sunday. The really good teams are the teams that are learning in prelims, but they know they're going to move on to the next round. So they're learning the layout, they're progressing, they're winning points. They might purposely lose a point because they're trying to learn and try something. And those are the mature teams. If you're just trying to grind through prelims and, you know, not really understanding the layout when it's a blind layout, then you're just going to struggle as you move on. So that's where that maturity level comes into. Okay, we're trying to learn this layout while we're playing these prelim games and understanding when to do things and not do things. And that's when you learn Sunday teams. And that's when you see in the pro division, you see these younger pro teams, and you're like rooting for them because they're doing so well in the prelims. But then you see those Sunday pro teams come out, and that's why they're Sunday pro teams, because they know that next level. They know the maturity. They know when they make those moves, how to make those adjustments, what to do. And those younger teams just haven't learned that next step yet, and they're so close. And that's just what it comes down to, that experience.
Exactly. I mean, how many times have we seen a team go 4-0 in prelims, like be it NXL or whatever tournament series, whatever division, like a team goes 4-0 in prelims and then they lose the first game on Sunday. Happens all the time.
I talked to Johnny Lookout at Chicago. I was like, hey, how's it going? He's like, oh, you know, we're 2-0, we're 3-0. He's like, but, you know, we're like losing point, like not feeling right, and stuff like that. But he's like, it's good. I like it. And it's like, you know, they've won 4 events in a row, right? And so it's like, but he's like, if we're not losing in prelims, it scares us because, like, we're not learning. Like, you want to lose, you want to win your matches, or you win your games, but you want to lose in your matches because you want to learn while you're in there. Like, you want to learn and progress the whole time. And anybody who's real competitive, the Sunday paintball players expect to make Sunday. Like, prelims is a learning experience. They know they're going to win the prelim game, 100%. They don't worry about them. All it is growing pains. Hey, let's try this out. Hey, is this lane on point? Hey, can we get this G off the break? Hey, can we do this? Because all they're focused on is Sunday paintball. Hey, we know we're going to make Sunday. This is just the learning phase. This is when we actually start kicking up the gears and start implementing stuff. And so some teams just try and, man, we made it out of the prelims, and then they get destroyed, like you said on the first day. They're not a Sunday team. Those teams who are Sunday teams, they're just, working out the kinks and prelims because they are already focused on Sunday and moving on.
For sure. All right. So, yeah, all of those teams out there listening, trying to get any last second preparation going in. Yeah, just focus on how you're winning versus how much you're winning by, and that's gonna win you tournaments. Like point spreads are nice, but if you're gonna win the whole thing, win tournaments, focus on how you're winning as a team. So, that we're getting towards the end of our episode. Anybody who's tuning in, first of all, thank you for tuning in. And it looks like Angie Tejeda in the chat says Austin Oney's got it this time around. So we got a fan there rooting for the upsets. So if you're listening, you've got a couple more minutes to get your questions in the chat. Get them in now. We're getting toward the end of our episode. So this next question is brought to us by Get That Shot, who's going to be taking photos and videos this weekend at Bunkerfest. Message him on Facebook or Instagram if you're still needing media coverage, and get signed up. So Ryan, are there anybody in Texas, either teams, players, brands, projects that have caught your attention lately? Who do you think in Texas, within paintball in general, deserves more recognition for what they're doing?
I think anybody who is trying to play paintball in a good way is doing good. I appreciate what you do, Christian, with the podcast. I love your spectrum on like pros, staff, Bunkerfest, low-level players, high-level players. Like, you're everywhere. I like how it's just full spectrum. That's great. You see, I like being able to get everybody's point of view in the paintball community, so that way everybody on all realms of paintball can relate. That's awesome. I like anybody in all type of leagues, all the, I don't have no animosity towards anybody. It doesn't matter where you come from, the Lucaus, Hinman, Rangel, whoever's running the leagues and stuff like that. Anybody who's just trying to make paintball better, trying to promote paintball, trying to make paintball better for the players, trying to make the format awesome, trying to give good locations. Hats off to them for trying to do what they can best for the players, sacrificing their time, their money, everything they can, their stress levels and their blood pressure through the roof. Sacrifice of the players to keep playing this crazy sport, coming out, playing through heat, playing through sludge and rain and just all that crazy stuff, and to just have a smile on your face and keep coming out. Thanks for all the vendors that keep coming out and supporting us. Anson and the ID guys, man, you guys have been nonstop awesome coming out. Thanks for all the vendors who just keep wanting to come out and support. Thanks for new vendors coming into the sport of paintball and just seeing what you can offer to bring it. All the paintball fields I like to pop up to help sports. Every time a field or a sponsor can give $5 off or $10 off or a little discount, that's big for a player. They see it. They love it. Thank you for it. Players, don't expect that discount. Don't always expect a discount. Be appreciative if the discount comes. Don't be like, hey, is there a sponsor? Hey, can I get a discount? Be appreciative the discount comes. All right? If it comes, be appreciative. Don't always ask for it. If the sponsors or the vendors give you to them, say thank you. So just be kind to each other. Be humble. Keep playing paintball. Have fun. And hopefully paintball can keep growing. Texas paintball can keep rocking and winning everything.
For sure. Yeah, there's a lot of cool stories out there in paintball, and I know that there are some podcasts out there that's not necessarily their style. They're more of like a current events talk show type podcast, which is great. And we need shows like that to just kind of keep us up to date with the day-to-day within the paintball scene. But I know whenever I was starting this show, my focus was there's so many stories out there within paintball, not just from the pro level, not just from the professional league, but it could be anything like league owners, referees, vendors, photographers, like kids, youth division players, other shows, could be really anything. Like I've had a couple people on this show that don't even really play paintball. Like one guy is the paintball trading cards guy, Ryan Polito. He's not really a tournament guy. He's played like 1 or 2 times, but his passion is like media and trading cards. You know, getting all of these stories from the community as a whole. And yeah, that's going to be that's why I keep doing it, is to get all of the stories from everyone, because there's a lot of great stories, a lot of great people out there that deserve the spotlight. So I try to point the spotlight around to a lot of different people.
There's one last spotlight. It doesn't get the refs, guys. From jumping in as ref here and there, I promise you, whenever, and I'm the first one, I'm hot tempered. I will yell at a ref and hurt me, motherfucker, all day long. What kind of call is that? And then I'll try and shake their hand. I'll apologize. Like NXL ref, like I got a flag. I was cussing him out, then apologize. I'm sorry. He appreciated that. If you don't think that the refs and the head ref aren't hard on their referees as you are hard on them, you're kidding yourself. Because I can't tell you how many times a ref will pull his refs in and be like, yo, you guys need to make the right calls. You guys are fucking up. All right? That was a bad call over there. You shouldn't have made that call over there. Stop being lazy and get in there. You go do this. Like Dylan would pull his refs in and say, hey, you guys need to be better. All right? So if you guys don't think that refs are holding refs accountable, then you're kidding yourself. All right? So look, refs are human beings. They mess up. They don't see calls. They do see calls. In the midst of chaos, sometimes the call goes your way. Sometimes the call doesn't go your way. Shit happens. Trust me, I'm the first person to friggin' argue 100%. I got it. It's frustrating, 100%. But if you don't think that, especially in our league, and I guarantee a lot of other leagues probably do the same thing, if you don't think the refs are holding each other accountable and the head refs is not holding his refs accountable and calling their out on their BS, you're mistaken. So if you see a ref, shake a hand, tell him hope he has a good day. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, think of all the refs that are out there doing it. Like, they're there every event. I mean, like, even just think of the last event, like how hot and miserable it was. They're out there all day. I don't know what kind of rotation there was at the last event, but I'm assuming it wasn't, you're not on for a match, off for a match by any means. You're out there all day, and you're getting shot more than the players are by a huge margin. And then sometimes you're just part of the background. Sometimes you're like the target of hate by whoever's on the field, and it's a difficult job. And that's why, and there's also like the reason why paintball specifically has sometimes as many refs on the field as players, sometimes even more refs than there are players on the field, is because that's how tough the job is. So yeah, shout out to all of the refs out there that sacrifice their time for not as nearly as much as they should be getting paid, like compared to how difficult the job is and how miserable it is. So yeah,
not like NFL refs. You're not getting fucking $80,000 for $1,000. Like, I can't pay that much to get shot in hot weather.
Absolutely. So yeah, go thank a ref. Yeah, and so I think that just about does it for our show. I'm checking the chat right here. Doesn't look like there's anything else. So this final question is brought to us by Compete, which is Jell Stewart's brand. Message him on Facebook or Instagram. Mention In the Pits for 10% off of your order of soft goods. So Ryan, thank you so much for your time. Do you have any last shout outs or things you'd like to say before we sign off?
Hey, appreciate you having me on. Hope everybody who comes out to Bunkerfest this weekend has a great time. Bring a costume. Hey, let's finish off this last event with a bang and have a good time. Make sure you guys watch Christian's podcast. He's doing a good thing for the community. And you see me walk around, say what's up. Thank any of the staff and the refs for what we do. Thank Christopher and Gail for trying to put on a great show. And hey, I just hope we all have a good time. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you having me on, Christian.
Absolutely. And Ryan, just so we know, everybody's listening out there, if we were gonna thank you, what's your beverage of choice to be getting thanked?
uh, Dude, I mean, any beer is fine with me. I'm personally a whiskey guy, so I'm a fish. I can drink anything, but if you want to toss me a beer, I'll drink a beer with you if you see me walking around. So,
All right, y'all. There it is. Yeah, just have that ready. Have that ready. Get come with a little bit extra if you're heading to Bunkerfest this weekend. So that does it, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to go follow Ryan at gnarly_adventure on Instagram. So what other guests would you all like to see on the show? Be sure to leave a comment down below. While you're at it, hit that subscribe button. The show goes live weekly here on youtube.com/@inthepitspaintballpodcast, and recordings are posted to YouTube, Amazon, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify the next day. I want to give a shout out to my partner and sponsor tier subscribers on Patreon: FU Athletics, Get Dat Shot, Paintball Kumite, Compete, Bem Raps, Skull Monkeys Paintball, Hydra, XTPL Events, YI Paintball, Mariachi Águilas de Oro, and Pod Runners Union. So we will see you all next week for episode 69, where we are going to have our first returning guest, which is Jason Bonner. And we will also be joined by Casey Harris, who has been coaching Greed's team the entire year. Casey Harris is also the coach for Paintball Fit Semi-Pro team. Hopefully I'll get to bring them on as the second place Bunkerfest series team. But we'll see about that this weekend. So be sure to tune in then. Ryan, thank you so much for your time.